Today I'm going to show you how you can take a few party pieces, put them together to make reindeer figures that can sparkle on your lawn this holiday season. Stay tuned. Okay guys, I am really excited about this project because I really want to see if I can pull this off. Now I'm working on some drawings and I think that I figured out how to do this. So last year I made these giant Christmas ornaments that sit outside on your lawn, and they came out pretty great. Thinking about that, I thought, I wonder if I could make a figure using those type of pieces. So I'm going to see if I'm able to pull this off. I have some diagrams that I put together, and I think it might work. And so we're going to do it as I go along and see what works, and see if we could come up with something great for Christmas. So I decided to make large outdoor reindeer figures. And for this project, for each reindeer, I'm using 4 large acrylic bows. You can get these from Dollar Tree. Also from Dollar Tree, I'm using 2 medium-sized acrylic bows, 7 small acrylic bows. These come 4 in a pack. 2 packs of large acrylic salad fork and spoons. 1 pack mini silver forks. I will be using 6 forks. 1 pack of plastic silver dining ware. I'm using 2 spoons. Wide silver or gold ribbon. Thin silver or gold ribbon. 1 large decorative gold or silver ornament. A set of small ornaments. Gold or silver ornament bells. Gold or silver pipe cleaners. Small plastic goblets. And 12 acrylic cups. Now Dollar Tree usually has these 2 in a pack, but I could only find blue ones, so I got these from Walmart. They were 58 cents each. Also from Walmart, I picked up tent pegs. I'm using 4 for each reindeer, and a pack of 100 mini battery operated lights. From the hardware store, I'm using 2 size 10 24 thread 3-foot rods and 2 1-foot rods, 8 10-24 nuts, and 8 number 10 3/4 inch washers. To put everything together, I'm using a hammer, pliers, scissors, clear packing tape, optional hot knife, Gorilla Clear Grip glue, and the hot glue gun with Gorilla glue sticks. Okay, so I'm going to start with the legs, and I'm using 3 of these cups for each leg. I want something that looks like this. I'm going to do 2 legs straight and 2 legs that are like the reindeer back legs are. So using my Gorilla Clear Grip glue, I'm going to put glue at the mouth of one of the cups. I'm going to make a semicircle on one side and then another on the other side, leaving a space in the center to put a dot of hot glue at the top and the bottom. Next, I'm going to place another cup, line that up mouth to mouth, and I'm going to lay it down on the wet glue side first and make sure it's lined up, and then close it together. So the hot glue will just keep it in place while the wet glue dries. Now I'm going to put glue on this end of the cup and attach my 3rd cup end to end. So I did 2 of these, and now I have 2 front legs. Now I'm going to set these aside and start working on my back legs. To make this look a little realistic, I want the back legs to bend. So I'm going to put these together at angles. So for the bottom cup, I'm going to put glue right at the top and a little bit on the inside. I'm going to put the wet glue in the middle and then put some hot glue on the outside, and this will be just a curve that's about 1 inch or 2. And I'm going to put that on one side and then put glue on directly across from that. Now I'm going to place the 2nd cup inside the mouth of the 1st cup, but I'm going to angle it so that the bottom part of the 2nd cup is just right at the top edge of the bottom mouth, and the front part of the cup will just rest on the other edge. And I'm going to hold this for about 30 seconds while the hot glue that I put on the edges dry. After that dries, now with the third cup, I'm going to do the same thing. Wet glue in the middle and hot glue on the edges on each end. Then I'm going to sit that third cup inside the mouth of the second one. This time this cup will sit up pretty much straight at a right angle. And I'm going to hold that again for about 30 seconds. Then I'll have what looks like a back leg that is bent with a knee. So I did another one that looks like this, and now I have 2 front legs and 2 back legs. Now to attach these legs to the body of the deer, I'm going to use these small bows. As you can see on my diagram, I plan on using rods to attach to the body so that I could move the legs. So I want to put holes in these small bows and then attach the bows to the legs of the deer. There are circles at the top part of the design of this bowl, so I'm going to use one of those circles as a guide for where to put my hole. Now I'm going to use the hot glue gun just to melt the hole into the plastic. I'm pressing the tip down where I want the hole, and I'm just adding a little pressure until it starts to melt the plastic, and then I'm going to twist it a little as it goes in. It goes in kind of slow, slower than if you used a hot knife or a soldering iron, which you could use. I like using this because it doesn't leave films. If you do use a hot knife, you'll get films from the plastic. You might have to do that outside. Now this will leave a little bubble, so you'll have to push the rod or something through the hole to make sure the hole is big enough and that it's open. Okay, so I prepared 4 bowls with holes, and I'm going to attach the bowl to the cup like so. So I also want that bowl to sit inside the top of the cup at an angle. I want the bottom of the bowl to be flush with the edge of the cup, and I want the hole to sit up straight so that the rod will be able to go straight through it into the body of the deer. So like before, I'm going to use the Gorilla Clear Grip glue and the hot glue at the top part of the edge of the leg, and I'm going to sit that bowl at an angle inside the cup. Now I'm going to also put a little hot glue around the edges, and I did these for all 4 legs. Now for the back legs, you're going to have to make sure you glue the bows on correctly because these legs are bent, and you want to make sure that the bows are opposite so that the bend is in the same position on each side. Also for these back legs, there are openings inside the cups since they are bent, and since it's going to be outside, I don't want rain to collect inside the cups, so I'm going to close that up with some clear packing tape. I'll put a couple of pieces around every part that is open and really press that down on and around the joints. And since it's clear tape, you really can barely see that it's there. So I'll do that for all the joints and all the way up to the top part of the leg for both back legs. Okay, so now it's time to work on the body. I'm going to work on this center part of the deer, and I'm going to start by gluing these 2 middle pieces together. So I'm using 2 very large acrylic bows. These are like punch bows from Dollar Tree, and I'm using the Gorilla Clear Grip glue around the base of one of the bows. And just like I did with the cups, I'm going to do a semicircle on each side, leaving a space in the center, and add some dots of hot glue. Then I'm going to place another bowl directly on top of the bottom of the first bowl. Now this is going to be pretty much the waist of the deer right in the center and half of the torso in the back. So what I want to do right now is put some holes for the rods in the torso part of this deer. So on the right side, I'm going to put a hole right in the center on each end. And make sure your holes line up so that your rod can go straight through it. So before we put the rods through this piece, we're going to add 2 washers and 2 nuts in the center part of the rod. And you want to screw it down to it's about this length so that it fits inside the bowl. So I have a longer end and a shorter end. I'm going to put the longer inside first and then push the other end in. So I'll loosen or tighten up the nuts and adjust it so that there's an equal amount of excess on each side of the bowl. Then I'll tighten the nuts and washer up so that it's flush with the bowl. Just make sure you don't tighten it too much because the acrylic will crack. Next, what I'm going to do is attach the front legs to this back part of the torso. And I'm going to do that before I close it up. So with each leg, I'm going to add another washer and a nut on this side of the torso and just tighten that up. You could use pliers to tighten these. Just make sure not too tight because again, you don't want the acrylic to crack. Plus, I want to be able to move the legs so I can position them the way I want. Okay, so I'm going to just lay this gently on the floor while I work on some other parts of this. Now I have the front legs attached in the center torso. Now I'm going to work on the back part of this so I can attach the back legs. Okay, so this bow will be the back part, the butt part that'll attach to the torso. And I want to put a rod through here like I did for the front legs for the back. But the back legs are about 3 inches lower than the front legs because they're bent. So I want to put my holes about 3 inches from the center. And because of the angle that the rod's going to have to go through at this level, you're going to have to push the hot iron all the way to the end to make a big hole. And you could use scissors to cut that bubble if you have to. As you can see, the rod is almost flush with the bottom part of that circle, which is about 3 inches down from the center. Okay, so I'm going to center the rod and tighten up the nuts. And now I have this ready for my back legs. Now before I attach this to the rest of the body, I want to attach a tail to this back piece. So I'm putting 2 holes in here so that I can insert a ribbon and be able to attach a tail to the back of this deer. Okay, so now we can glue the back part onto the torso, and I'm going to just line this up to make sure that the back rod is straight and the tail is at the top. And I'm just going to make a couple of marks on both pieces so that I can glue it straight in the right place. And after that's dry, I can screw on the back legs. And I want to make sure the knees are facing forward. And this is what we have so far. Both the front and back legs move right now. But I'll tighten that up more when I figure out how I'm going to position it exactly. So now let's work on the front part of this deer. Okay, so I'm going to use another large bow for this chest area and some bows for the head. So this medium-sized bow I'm going to use for the head, and I think I'm going to attach it up a little higher than my drawing. I want to attach it right at the edge of the larger bow. So for the headpiece, I'm going to start by putting 2 large holes at the base of the circle to attach to the breast part. I'm also going to put 2 small holes on each side of the bow to attach ears to the back of the head. And I'll be using these small bows as ears. I put 2 holes in the bows and I'll be using pipe cleaners, these silver pipe cleaners, to twist tie the ears to the back of the head. Now I'm going to take some big ribbon and pull out the whole spool, and then I'm going to cut that ribbon in half. I'm using 1/2 of the ribbon to go through the holes that I made on the body, the breast part, and the other half of the ribbon is going to go through the back part of the head. And these will be used to tie the two pieces together and make sort of a big bow for the back of the neck. But before I tie those pieces together, I'm going to work on the front part of the head and then close the head up. So I'll be using another medium bow for the front part of the head. But before I close it up, I need to make some holes in the front part of the head. Now the front part will hold the antlers, and I'm going to use a small bow to sit the antlers in. So I want to make 2 holes in the small bow and 2 holes in the front part of the head right here at the top. So I can also attach the bow with the antlers with a big silver bow. But I'm only putting the ribbon through the head part, the front of the head. I'm not going to put the ribbon through the bow, but when I do attach it, I'm just going to slip the ribbon through the holes and tie a bow. But first, let's glue the front part of the head onto the reindeer, and then we can work on the face. Now I'm gluing this down so that all the ripples line up, and that big ribbon is right at the top of the head between the 2 ears. And now on my drawing, I have this little snout that's sticking out. For that, I'm going to use a small cup. I'm gluing that right in the center of the circle. Then I think I'm going to use this silver bell for his nose. Now this is optional, but I had this bucket of gems, so I think I might put 2 little gems for his eyes, and these are teardrop shaped gems. Okay, so since these pieces are ready, let's attach them to the rest of the body of the deer. So I'm back on the floor. I'm going to put some glue on the torso part and attach the breast piece to the torso. And I want the big ribbon to sit at the top part of the deer. So I'll let that piece dry, and I'm going to stand this up with a couple of chairs and attach the head to this piece. So I'm setting the head up on top, and I'm lining the 2 ribbons up. I'm going to make a tie on each side really tight, and then I'm going to tie the 2 ends together into a bow right at the back of the head. Now the head will wobble a little. You can put a little hot glue underneath just to put it in position and to keep it in one place. So instead of the bow that I had in the back for the tail, I decided to use this decorative ornament. I thought it looked nicer, it looked more like a tail. Since the hole for this ornament is so small, I added a piece of silver pipe cleaner to attach it. Then I tied the silver ribbon into a bow around it. So I have a nice little decorative reindeer tail. Okay, so we're almost there. Now the last thing we need to work on is the antlers. So I bought a bunch of plastic silverware, and I thought these might work to make great antlers. So what I'm going to do first is glue the silver fork inside the silver spoon, like this, to make one long piece that sort of curves. And I'm making 2 pieces like this. And I'm also using these tiny little mini forks. I'm going to attach them to the larger piece. But first I'm going to cut the little pieces off so that it's a nice clean piece. And I'm gluing 3 pieces down so that they fan out on one side, sort of like branches. And I'll do the same thing on the other one, but the opposite side, so that it looks like this. Okay, so I'm going to take my small bowl, the one that I put 2 holes in the center to attach to the head, and I am going to glue the antlers to the outside of the bowl. So I'm gluing these across from the holes, and I'm gluing them at an angle going towards the back. So I'm going to press this against the bowl right across from the hole, and I want the bottom point to rest on the surface, and the piece will be glued at about a 30-degree angle going towards the back. And I'm going to hold it there for about 30 seconds until the hot glue dries. Then I'll put a little more hot glue around it since it's on the outside to make it more sturdy and stay in place. And I did the same thing to the other side. Now I'm going to use 2 regular size plastic silver spoons to make antlers to go in the front. And I'm also going to cut the rounded part off of these. And this time I'm gluing these inside the front part of the bowl. Okay, so now I think my antlers are ready to attach to the head of the reindeer. To attach this, I'm going to take the long ribbon from the top of the deer's head and feed it through the holes that I made into the bowl for the antlers. Then I'm going to tie a pretty tight knot. And if the antlers are shifting around too much, you could use some hot glue at the bottom of the bowl to hot glue it in position to the head. Now I'm not going to tie a bow yet up here because I'm going to put my light controller up here, so I'm going to leave that for now. Now one thing about this is that the legs are wobbly and they can move, so I need a way to plant them into the ground. So I decided to put pins in the legs to stake them to the ground after I position them in place. And for that I'm using a few tent pegs. So for each of the bottom cups that make up the legs, I'm going to put a hole in the side of the cup and a hole at the very bottom of the feet so that I can put the pegs through at an angle and it can go into the ground. Now I'm doing this after I put the legs together, but it might be better if you did this in the beginning. I just thought of it, so I'm doing it a little late, and it's a little bit harder while the legs are already together, but I wanted to show you how that works. And I'm probably going to use the hot knife because this cup is really thick and it takes a little while to make the hole with the hot glue gun. So this is pretty much done, but before I add lights to it, I want to hide these rods that are extending from the legs. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use some small Christmas bulbs. I'm going to take the caps off, and the opening of the bulb is just large enough to fit over the rod. So I'm just going to place that over each of the rods, and that'll help finish off decorating this deer. Now I decided to make another reindeer to make a nice scene in my yard. But for this one, I'm going to decorate in gold instead of silver. And I'm using a Christmas bulb for his nose, so it's more like a Rudolph reindeer nose. And to give it a different gesture, I'm bending all his legs. Now I did put pins in all the feet to help position and plant the feet into the ground, but this will not be enough to support the deer and help it stand up. So what I'm going to need to do is put rods through the body of the reindeer. So I'm putting 2 holes through the top and the bottom of the back and the torso of the reindeer so that I could push rods through that will stake into the ground. So I'm going to hammer these all the way down into the ground till there's just about an inch left above. And I'll just cover up those rods with the bell ornaments. To position the deers, first I pinned the feet where I wanted them and so that it could stand properly. And then I used the 3-foot rods to stake the body into the ground. And this did help make it stand very sturdy. To light my deers, I am using battery-operated mini lights. This has a couple of different settings, steady, blinking, fading. So I'm going to put it on right now just so I can see how to wrap it around a deer. But I'm going to set this controller inside the bowl of the antlers and tie the bow around it. Since this is going outside, I will definitely put this inside a little plastic Ziploc bag so it's protected from the rain. But the bow will help hide the controller. So I'm starting from the back, from the last light, and I'm wrapping the lights around the deer's face, starting with the snout. And I'm using Scotch tape in a few places to keep it in place. But I'm going from the face to the antlers, back down to the torso, the legs, around the body, into the back legs. But this is what it looks like all lit up in the dark. And here are my 2 reindeers all lit up outside. And I think with these lights, they stay on for 6 hours and off for 18 hours, so they'll come on at the same time every night. Right now I'm storing these in my backyard, but these will look great on my front yard during Christmas. But not bad for a few bowls and cups. I just love it. And who knows, maybe I'll be able to come up with a few more figures and I can fill up my lawn with lots of sparkling Christmas fun. Until then, I'll see you next time. Hey guys, check out my Etsy store where you can get some of the very projects made on this show. And for just a few dollars, you can get instant digital downloads of full color step-by-step instructions with templates for some of your favorite projects. And check out my Amazon page where you can pick up my multi-surface acrylic metallic paint, back in stock with 8 beautiful shimmering colors. You can mix millions of colors and create endless home beauty for indoor and outdoor projects. And while you're there, pick up my Book of Elegant Home Crafts Volume 1 with all your favorite projects together in one big beautiful colored step-by-step instruction book. On my Amazon page, you'll see all my favorite crafting tools and supplies used on this show, and you can add them all to your cart for the one-click fast and easy shopping and delivery convenience of Amazon. I'll be working every day to make crafting fun and easy for you. Follow me at Your House of Home and Your House of Home TV on all social media for extra home, food, and gardening tips.